One of the early demonstrations saw Cortana, which is currently only available on Windows Phone 8.1, Microsoft's digital assistant, and now that is being brought to the PC. So you can ask it stuff and it can find stuff for she. How would you use Cortana if you had it on your PC?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think I go back to the early versions of UCS, like the stuff that they did where you could phone up and talk to your email and get email to come back to you. And there was a great spoof video of The Devil Wears Prada, which was this high executive woman working during the day, phoning up, rearranging calendar appointments, etc., etc. And I like the concept of it, but it's that shift, it's that step change away from what you're used to. I've demonstrated Cortana to people where you push the button and you do how many pounds is 25 euros, and bang, it comes back with the answer. And wow, it's impressive. But when I go to do that myself in my normal day-to-day work, I go to internet browser and type in and search that. And I guess it's that changing the mentality of the way that you work to do it. I can see some real benefits from it. I can see some real ease of use from it, but I don't know whether it's a generational thing, but I just struggle to make that step change to voice commands as opposed to just still typing stuff in.
Yeah, and I think certainly for me, Cortana on the PC represents a slightly different offering than it does on the phone. I know we're all used to kind of typing things in, but I think when it's made the transition onto the PC, we now have a search field. So Cortana isn't anymore just a voice recognition tool. You type in what you want and it starts to search, whether it's local content, the web. It's bringing back intelligent searches based on the type of things that you like or you've searched for previously. So it's a very, very intelligent system and machine learning that's behind Cortana. In terms of the voice recognition stuff, it's fantastic. It works really well, but like Steve, I would say, how often do I use it? I've demonstrated to people, read out my appointments for tomorrow. It reads them all out perfectly. You then say, move my 3:30 to 2:30. It knows that you've already asked for the appointments tomorrow, so it doesn't need you to say, move my appointment tomorrow. You just literally talk as if you're talking to a human being. And it's clever enough to recognise that and move appointments around. And everyone's really impressed by the technology, and it works really, really well. The problem is, in our day-to-day life, are we really going to be walking around talking to our mobile phones? The reality is probably most people are going to be too embarrassed to do that and would prefer to type in. But I think Cortana now offers that transition on the PC to that more natural way of working that we're used to already.
Yeah, I think some of the keyboard input stuff around and the machine learning and some of that intelligence, I think is invaluable. Mm-hmm. But the digital assistant from a voice perspective, I'm sort of with Paul. I mean, I find it strange sometimes when you see people with clip-in Bluetooth earpieces walking down the road talking to themselves, and you've got no idea what they're doing. If people start walking around shouting out things like, "Can you tell me where to buy some flowers?" I think you're going to start to get some strange looks in the street.
Definitely.
Okay, moving on to the Surface Hub, which is actually a brand new category of device, as far as I know, that Microsoft has introduced. This is this giant 84-inch screen with built-in Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, microphones, all sorts of jazzy things. And we're also being told that this is Skype for Business in action. Is the Surface Hub going to be the future of meetings, do you think?
I for one, I think I saw this maybe 2 years ago. They presented this at WPC, and it was an acquisition they made, and it was when Steve Ballmer was CEO at the time, and he had one in his office, and he was talking through the concept of it, and it was an incredible piece of technology that worked really, really well, and I could see the value in it. I think at the time then it was about $80,000, which is a huge amount of money, and I think you can do a lot of that with TV screens and cameras and compute devices attached. And I get the idea of it's all in one place. I think it's just a price point thing. I mean, if you look at where we've gone, from the whiteboard to interactive whiteboards, you get into that concept where you're rolling up your entire AV requirements into a single box. you've effectively got a whiteboard, a digital whiteboard, a collaboration, a video conferencing unit, touch enabled. I mean, I think it's an absolutely fantastic device, and it is something, if you get the price point right, I think you'd see in every boardroom everywhere. I just think it's fantastic.
I totally agree with Steve. I think it's a fantastic technology that we would love to see everywhere, and every boardroom, ours included. The reality is, at the moment, the price point is so high that we're going to see adoption numbers being extremely slow. We're probably going to see it in large corporate enterprise type businesses. We're not going to see it in our typical small and even mid-sized businesses today. When you think about how cheap it is to stick a 50-inch plasma on the wall for 500, 600 quid, put a decent camera on that, HD camera on it, and enable it with Link, and you're talking about something that costs less than £1,000, and then a subscription to Link, and you've got all the technology you need to do boardroom to boardroom calling at a fraction of the cost of this technology. Although this technology does look fantastic. And I agree with Steve that it also takes away the traditional tools like whiteboards and active whiteboards and all that type of technology as well. So you've got a kind of combined tool, which is a phenomenal tool, but I think the reality is we're probably likely to see it adopted widespread, and certainly in our marketplace.
I mean, you think 84-inch screen, you take away the whole need for projectors and whiteboards, a whole lot, and it's a fantastic device. And Paul's point on you look at plasma screens, if you look at the price, how quickly they came down, they get bigger and bigger and cheaper, and I think we need to start seeing that somehow from those devices. I know they've not actually released any pricing for it yet, but I should imagine it's going to be in the tens of thousands. But yes, I'd love one. Thank you.